life's about balance, baby, and the balance is in my account now. Okay, she got a perkin' and Burke, I got a twerking and Turks. She probably let both of us hit, the way that she smirking and dirt. She getting cake on the picture she take, I say, girl, if it worked, then it worked. Fuck a wedding dress, I'm tryna murk it and
Hey, you ain't flying big as spur. Hey, you ain't driving around the world. Hey, you ain't brown like...
Welcome everybody, back again, the Lifestyle Balance Podcast. This is Alex, your host. Super happy to be back. Today is episode 26 with a special guest, Paul Prochilo. How are you?
Hey, Alex, I'm really good, man. Episode 26. Wow, this is phenomenal. I'm really glad to be here. Really got a lot of admiration for the work you guys are doing. I think it's unbelievable. You've had some tremendous guests, and yeah, real honor to be here among them. So thank you.
Anytime.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to this one. I guess we always like to start off with a little background about yourself before we get into any questions. So we'll just start off there.
Sure.
About who you are.
So a little bit about me, Paul Prochilo. I mean, let's go professionally and we'll turn it into family, right? But Paul Prochilo, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Simplicity Car Care. We're one of Canada's fastest growing collision repair networks. And essentially, what we do is really identify independent operators that have a tremendous set of will and capability, but they just need some support to firm up the back end of their business. And that's what we do. We come in, we call it the McDonald's effect. Nice. So we convert their entire collision center to the Simplicity way, which we call the Simplicity repair process, SRP. And once they have a proven capacity to conduct our system, I'll plug them into a network of work providers, from national fleet companies to insurance companies and the like. And our goal is to make car care simple and affordable for every vehicle owner in the world. And we do that through our network of simplifiers. So on a professional side, that's what keeps me busy. But what keeps me just as busy is I'm a husband and a father. My beautiful wife, Giovanna, and my beautiful little girl, Gia. She's 2 years old now. She will be in August. And then I got Charlie. He's our four-legged, furry, adopted son. I love that guy to death. So that's what rounds out a lot of my world. Outside of trying to find some time, get out some golf, connect with the boys. We can get so preoccupied with so many different things that we forget about the other parts of our life, social, spiritual, all very important, right? So, and we may touch on some of that. You never know where we go. For sure. But that's a little bit about me.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And so how long have you been with Simplicity Care? How long has it been starting for?
So Simplicity Car Care, we launched in 2017.
Okay. Wow.
But we're not new. So the company now is 6 years old. April was its 6th birthday. But we're not new to the industry, so we're a second generation. My partners and I, my co-founding partners and I, and the first generation of our family were in the business, and you may know, because not far from your head office here, is Prochilo Brothers Auto Collision.
Yes.
And that was my dad, right? Wow. And my uncle started that. So, we decided for... and I know reasons that we'll touch on in a bit, that we needed to rebrand.
Nice. And
we needed to grow. And we found that franchising and a rebrand, it would be very difficult to scale Prochilo Brothers Auto Collision, right? So we went with a rebrand, and we'll get into a little bit of how we got there. But that's our deal. So both me, my twin brother, and he was a co-founding partner of mine, and my cousin, Dominic Arachi, who, shout out Dom Arachi, just had twin girls yesterday.
Wow. Congrats.
Yeah, so busy world in the world of simplicity, right? And we've all ran very progressive, very successful collision repair centers. So for us as the leadership team, we think one of our biggest assets is we know exactly what it takes to run a successful collision center, and we work on supporting all of our simplifiers across the country in helping grow their business, because we've been there and we've done that. So
the experience is there.
We've got it locked down. Absolutely.
Awesome. That's awesome. And so, now that you guys have rebranded and so forth, have you found just the whole rebranding process been a lot more, easier to move forward?
Yeah. So the rebranding itself, our philosophy, our mantra is we go slow in the planning. Right? Go slow in the planning, cover every and as much to you as you can. You know, there's like a 10% threshold that you'll never account for.
Sure.
But once we're done with the planning, now we go pedal to the metal on execution, right? So when we underwent the rebranding, we did it in a number of different phases, especially with our work providing partners, right? With historic Prochilo Brothers, been around for 40 years, right? You can't just turn the switch off on that, right?
No, exactly.
So we did a co-brand, which we do for all of our simplifiers.
Nice.
So when an individual joins Simplicity Car Care, our goal is to build off your current success, right? And we don't want to lose your historic brand within your community. So we do a co-branding. So when customers pull in, they know, hey, Alex's Auto Body, they're still here, but they're a member of Simplicity Car Care, right?
Nice.
So that's kind of a part of that whole brand development phase for us. But, it started off with a lot of communication to our insurance partners and our work providers. And just taking it with a very methodical approach, not just flipping a switch and saying, here's simplicity and don't worry about what it was prior. That's not real. That's not good change management either, right? So it's made it exceptionally easy. Easy. Nothing's ever easy. Exactly, even though it looks it never is. No. The dish comes to you and tastes phenomenal, but the kitchen's going full out, right?
Always.
So, what it did though, simplicity was the name, the brand, gave us an avenue to grow. And most importantly, what it did, it created a brand that customers would elicit an emotional response from. Oh, wow. So imagine this, you're in an accident, and here's how I relate it.
Okay.
Your mother, your sister, or your grandmother, never mind men, because as long as things get done, truly, the majority of us don't really care how it gets done.
As long as it's done.
But for women specifically, who are control about 74% of the economic decisions in a household, okay? That's true in my house, because as long as it's in budget, I really don't care. Go ahead, buddy. Do whatever you want. But no, what we wanted to elicit was an emotional response at that moment of truth, what we call first notice of loss. The minute you've had that accident, right? And when a work provider, whether it be a fleet company or insurance company, when you call them and say, I've been in an accident. Well, you know what? We've got a provider who's going to help you. It's Simplicity Car Care. And if you really think about it, it happened for us, and I know it happened through focus groups. You just Simplicity Car Care. Okay, so you get that feeling that it's going to be a simplified, streamlined approach. And when we were going through the branding, we were like, should it be like Simple Car Care? I go, but that's too simple. It sounds stupid.
Too generic.
So what we wanted was collision repair and franchising meets Silicon Valley.
Got it.
Right?
Cool.
And that's why we had the simplicity piece to it. And it's been a tremendous success ever since.
Wow.
Congrats. Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, because even though talking a little off camera, Nick gave me a little background how fast you guys grow. Yeah. How was the scaling side of it? Like, how could you talk on that a little bit? How you scaled it over such a quick turnaround? Yeah, well, so a number of things, right? So, look, the Canada, the Canadian collision market, I'm just going to talk some macroeconomics about collision repair first, and then we'll dial in, right? Yeah, to understand it.
Yeah, we're going to go high level and dial in, right? Cool. So in the collision repair industry, it's been undergoing something called consolidation. And for members of the audience, may or may not know, what it means is when you have a very highly fragmented, a lot of different collision independent centers all over the place, all different brands, right? But the Canadian market mimics that which is in Europe, and Europe has been consolidated where, extreme. I'll just say extreme without getting into a collision repair global 101 course, right? So what happened was consolidation started in Canada about 25 years ago. So we were late to the party, right? I even had some of my competitors tell me, wow, that's cute. Are you guys serious? And I'm like, well, yeah, we're very serious. You're a little late. We were here 25 years ago, and I would look them square in the eye and say, yeah, we may be late to the party, but trust me, no one closes out a party better than us. Nice. And we're going to do so. Nice. And so when you're in consolidation, we couldn't just open up a network brand and say, hey, we do the same, right? We couldn't. We needed to be very different or wouldn't work. So what we did was we did some research, and we are inspired, and our inspiration is Amazon,
Okay.
Uber,
Yeah.
and enterprise car rental.
Nice.
Those are the three companies that we
Yeah.
hold on a pedestal because they do very distinct things very, very well.
Yeah, efficient.
Efficient. But most importantly, they have a characteristic, a core characteristic called disruptive innovation. Okay? So to be a disruptive innovator, and this is what we built our entire company around, you need to do three things. Number one, you need to offer a level of service that was never available before. You need to be very easy to use. Okay? And then you've got to offer that at a reduced cost structure.
Yeah.
Now, key word, cost structure. So it doesn't mean that I'm going to, just discount my prices to success. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
What you do is you charge a fair and reasonable price that is reflective of the value you're delivering, but you go deeper in understanding how can I help my customer control their costs. So where we beat industry in Canada. I'll say this publicly.
Yeah.
There's none of my competitors that right now can come close to us. We beat cycle time by over 40% on the industry. Wow. So keys to keys, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So when you look at that and you come to an insurer and say, well, or a work provider and say, well, I'm going to process cars 40% faster than anybody else. What does that mean to you? That's way more money than any rebate or discount anyone could ever give, right? So essentially, that's why we've grown and why we continue to grow so fast, is we apply that philosophy to our upstream customers. And, well, I mean, we have a two-pronged approach. We've got work providers, and then we've got simplifiers or franchisees. And we do the same for them.
Wow.
So we're 43% less expensive than our competitors on their.
That's a big difference.
On their royalty rate, right?
Yeah.
But so we did a dynamic approach. We said, hey, listen, on your existing business, I'm going to be 43% less expensive than anyone in the market. That's basically a break even for us. We don't make $1. But where we share, where I gain, is when I grow your business above what you've been doing historically. And then I take a little bit of a larger piece, and that's where the real money is, right? Sure. But everyone's fine with it because for the last 4 years, if you've been selling $100,000 a month for the last 4 years, well, that's kind of your cap, right? But if I grow it above that, we'll get a little bit more. Wow. And that's how we've done it, man. It's really how we've done it. That and people. For sure. Having the best people. If you don't have a solid team, you know, you only go as far as as the people will bring you, and the leadership, commitment, self-motivation, that's all important pieces of your team. And I think we might cover some of that deeper a little later, but those are some of the key critical success factors to the growth that we've had thus far. And we're not done yet.
Wow. Yeah.
Nowhere near done yet.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
So I know you said a little earlier about the franchising side of it.
Yeah.
So what made you guys go that route with the company?
Great question. So this was back in 2016. So 2017 we started the company, and in 2016 we were approached by one of our largest work providers who said, "Hey, consolidation is really running rampant now, boys, and I'm sorry, you guys are really outperforming everybody in our program, but I can't promise from 3 stores, if you guys don't grow, that our relationship will stay the same."
Volume.
Yeah, well, they wanted more points of sale. See, what it is they want one point of contact. So instead of having to negotiate with, in our case, 90 locations, they just talk to me. We do one contract, cascade it nationally, done. Right? Wow. That saves a lot of money for insurers in having to manage all of these different contracts, right? So that was ideally, that was in the beginning what they were looking for. Today it's table stakes and now it's performance. But what happened was that work provider gave me, kind of that ultimatum. And I said, all I could ask for, and this is all I could ask for, was the notice. Leave it with me now. Thank you. Nice. So we tried to acquire stores. And we went through some strategic review, my partners and I, and we recognized that we're not going to be able to grow this fast enough if we acquire. So we had an epiphany where we weren't being very successful. at growing anything. We couldn't buy a store, and it was a little bit depressing at the point because we're an A-type team, right? We hit home runs and deliver, right? And for us to have really in that year nothing to produce, it was unlike us, right? So it was my partner Dom Arachi, and what we did was we wrote down on the whiteboard, so what are all the things that the prospects love about us, and what don't they? And they loved our support, they loved our work provider relationships, they loved everything, but they didn't want to give up their business, they didn't want to exit, or their valuations were for us to acquire were out of whack, right? And it was my partner who looked at it and says, so let me ask you a question, why do we have to own any of these? And I looked at him, I said, what are you, crazy? we're an MSO, we're a multi-location operator, right? What are you going to do? Start bringing on franchisees? Now we've got no control over the system, right? And then it was my brother Dom who runs our operations, and he piped up. He's just staring at the whiteboard, and he pipes up and goes, but Paul, if we treated them as if we're converting an acquisition, then I think we could have it. I think it'll be very successful. And after those two said that, that's when I sat down. I said, I'm going to shut up. Please flush this out deeper.
Continue.
And we met back at that boardroom every day for 2 weeks. And we flushed it all out in 2 weeks, man. And after that, get some branding, get legal involved. We need some franchise disclosure docs. Let's go.
Turnaround, 2 weeks really.
Well, I mean, that was when we had the inception of the idea. It took us 4 months to get it ready to go, right? Legal, very important piece, branding, right? We weren't Simplicity yet, so it was like we had to even rebrand. We had to go through that process, right? But we were ready to go. And in our first year, we sold. I mean, we were started in April, and by first year we had 5 locations. In 2017, and then we quickly scaled. Like, it was like almost doubling every year after that. So. And
you're at what now? You said earlier?
90, with a target of 110 by the end of this year. By December.
Congrats on that.
Yeah, thank you, buddy.
That's
thank
amazing.
you.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And so, what's the process like now that you have all these franchises running? Is it very simplistic to say?
Yeah,
dealing with them on a basis?
We like to, our core belief is that we need to remove complexity from our business. It's very complicated already, right? And, I think one of the things that have, another attribute to our success is that we've identified, we'll call it 4 key levers in a collision center. They don't require any CapEx or any investment, big equipment, none of that. It's just we found 4 specific areas in the business that if you focus heavily on, you make your most significant competitor insignificant overnight. Like, I'm telling you, cycle time, like the time that it takes a car to come in and come out of a collision center, we'll cut that in half within 30 days. Right away. Right away. Yeah. So
that changes the game.
We just figured it out. That's all we did, man.
It's the formula.
We figured it out, buddy. That's what we did. And our competitors, I don't believe they have yet, because we still outperform them significantly, but that's good for me.
Yeah, why not?
No problems with that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, man.
Cool. So let's talk a little bit about, we kind of said off camera a bit before, but yourself and the importance you think it is, the whole mental side now, the whole personal side to running a business like that. But in your own way, like, how do you deal with that on a daily basis? So
we're referring to like the stress management and everything. Well, look, you know what? When you become self-employed and when you begin to develop a team, there's something that I think every entrepreneur needs to understand. You now have a social responsibility to not only yourself and your family, because you've made that commitment that you're going to develop this business and you're going to support your family through it. But one thing you can never forget, you've now taken on a social responsibility for everybody who joins your team. Right? You are helping. Today, we help 33 people provide for their families. Right? And those are our corporate simplifiers. Right? And that's not even including the technicians at the shop level. Otherwise, we have the responsibility, a social responsibility to 75 people. And it's going to grow exponentially further than that. So that's a piece that could be a motivator, but can also be distressing in times like COVID, what we just experienced, right? And so really, I think the Lifestyle Balance podcast is exactly what you need to be looking for. You know, I call it the wheel of life. And, you know, Nick's dad, you know, we've spoken to that. We're great friends. And, you know, I learned this through an organization called LMI, Leadership Management International. Shout out to Frank Krez, the man. And, you know, he taught me that you must treat your life like a wheel. Okay. And it's curated by 6 spokes, right? It's your personal, your family life needs to be given attention to, your professional career, right? Your mental development, your physical development, your social development, and spiritual development. Right? And spiritual could mean anything. It could mean just taking 15 minutes once or twice daily to stop. And people get, you know, some people feel hesitant around meditation. Well, I'm not a listen, meditate, just stop, sit, close your eyes, and have 0 thoughts. Exactly. Don't allow any thought to come in your head. And just ease your brain. It's like a car. If I'm gonna rev this thing 8,000 RPM all day, all night, something's gonna break down a little too quick. Your brain is the same way. Slow it down. Just put it out of use for 15 minutes twice daily, right? So to get back to your question, I like to center everything around my wheel of life, right? And there are areas that I know periodically I don't give enough attention to, but I can feel them. Right? And just like the law of attraction, right? So if you're thinking about things and if you're having that positivity, quantum physics suggests that we're putting out the vibrations, so we're going to pull it back in. Don't get hung up on maybe this month you didn't focus on a specific area. It doesn't matter. Just continue going and just continue to level yourself up every month, right? I like the 1% approach. Be better 1% in every area of your life for 12 months. That's 12% in a year. And then we compound that. See, compounding. Warren Buffett says it's the most powerful catalyst in the world. Because what happens is that compounding growth keeps growing off of growth. And this is a multiplier. We're not adding anything. These are multipliers. And that's where things get unbelievably amazing. We overstate what we can do in a year, but we understate what we can do in 3 years, right? Of consistency. Just like you guys are doing here. Unbelievable job, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Like we said earlier, it's just consistency at the end of the day.
That's what it is. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to block and tackle and get to work. That's about all it is. That's the magic. Just show up every single day. Show up with the right energy. Show up with the right intention. And I think we'll get into that a bit later around living in intention with intentionality. But if you do that, there's likely nothing that can stop you but yourself. Exactly. And don't get hooked on the how, because it's going to happen a whole different bunch of ways. It's happened to me, and I know we're going to cover that in a bit, but don't get locked into the how. Just get locked into where you want to go and how you want to be there.
Exactly. To go to your point, like you said, it's your enemy sometimes. I think your brain could be your enemy and your best friend at the same time.
Well, I'll tell you, perfection is the death of results. Right? I have franchisees. No, but guys. Listen, even me. We hold ourselves to some of that highest standards.
You want to be at that level.
Where I had to almost change that because, you know, in our first 3 years, 50%, 100% growth year over year. And me and my partner's like, hey, great. Pat on the back. Okay, let's get to work. But we got more to do, right? And it was one of our advisors who suggested, guys, you might want to consider changing that. Stop, smell the roses, celebrate a little bit, because you might generate a culture of lack where your people believe it doesn't matter. We hit 100%. It's never going to be good enough, right? We need 1,000%. These guys won't be happy with it. Wow. So tying it back in, it's just, you know, around we hold ourselves to a high standard, but we've learned that 100% perfection doesn't exist. But I'm a 90% kind of guy. I always say, right, to my franchisees, simplifiers, everyone. We go, perfection doesn't exist, but we're a 90% company, right? Which means we're going to score A pluses all the time, and that's good enough. If I didn't get 99 or 100, I don't really care. We want to get to 90.
Exactly.
Give ourselves a little bit of a cushion, right? And if you, you present that and you're there to support your people in achieving it, downloading, saying this is what we need, and that's it, it doesn't really work. You got to be there to support. Leaders got to do the 4 E's. Make it easy for your employees to execute your expectations. Right? That's our core job as any leader. That and resource allocation. Because it doesn't matter how big you get, there are a finite, limited number of resources. So you got to make sure you're putting them in the right space, right? No matter what you do. No matter how big, how small your company is. And what I mean by resource allocation is also time. Where are we putting our time? What are we doing? What's giving us the biggest ROE? Return on energy. Yeah, buddy. Absolutely. Because time, money, we could set a fire pit here and just burn a whole bunch of it. Guess what? Tomorrow, next year, we can make it all back. The 5 minutes that just passed, I don't care how great you are, we'll never get that back, right? That's the ultimate currency is time. Yeah, man.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it took me a while to figure that one out, but I'm glad I did.
To go to that though too, like even with a company at the scale you guys have created it to, like balancing the time to be like, okay, I'm not gonna get hungover. Oh, I have this much time to do this. I have this much time to do that. Keeping yourself grounded in that sense is probably really important. Sure.
Well, I can tell you that time management is is one of the most critical success factors to anybody, because day one, we didn't have 33 corporate simplifiers supporting us. Day one was my partner, Don Marachi. We talked about hunters and farmers, right? He's out doing brand development. I'm doing brand development. My twin brother Dom, he's converting stores. But now we closed too many stores where we closed the deal where he couldn't convert them by himself. So I had to go and start converting stores. And then we were like, okay, but we need more brand development, so we got to bring out operations. And it's just about, again, so the purpose is time management, like spending your time in the right areas, because at the end of the day, you're going to start off and you're going to have minimum resources, but where focus goes, progress shows, right? And there's a reason, like simplicity isn't some magic beanstalk that we put some water on and it started to sprout, right? No. It's very intentional what we've done with that organization, and we're proud of it.
For sure. Very strategic too.
Always. Living a life of intentionality, right? So if anything, if I could share anything to anybody, it would be the reason why time management, the wheel of life, these things are so important is because you need to live your life with intentionality. If you don't have goals, or you don't have time management, or you're not watching all 6 key areas of your life, then what's happening? You're floating around. You're really, maybe not nothing. In many cases, it's nothing. Don't get me wrong, but you're not living your fullest life.
For sure.
And that's probably the greatest sin we could ever have. Right.
It's true.
Right. God, infinite intelligence, whatever spiritual belief you have, brought us here to reach our fulfillment. And what that means is just, or at least what it means to me, is living your best life, again, living through intentionality, and living always with an attitude of servitude, right? Servitude to your family, servitude to your people, for sure. Servitude to yourself, physical and mental development, servitude in our social circles. How can I help you? I got friends starting up stuff, and they're like, hey, Paul, love some of your feedback. Yeah, sure, I can help you with that, no problem. But you know what? Like, we're just starting. I don't have a budget. I go, buddy, listen, I don't have the time to be that impactful for you. But what I can do is help you through some of the landmines, help you navigate landmines that, in my experience, I can now foresee because we've
sure.
gone to that certain point. So I would offer that to any of my friends at any time. That's just, again, living in an attitude of servitude and to close it out spiritually. You know, God has blessed me with many, many, many different gifts, and my family, my beautiful wife, my daughter, namely, are one of them. So for me to not live with intentionality and not live to be my best 100%. Is a disservice to everything that he's given me, right?
For sure.
So
well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
Thank you.
It's awesome. And so kind of to go into, you know, like we're always talking about in the car industry mainly, there's always big changes happening. There's changes are in the future. There's so many crazy things that are always evolving.
Vehicle tech, telematics, now the Internet of Things. Pretty soon you can control your fridge from your car. Yeah. Right? Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So in an industry that's always growing that you guys are in, how much do you guys spend, you know, not much time, but research and understanding how it's going to change your market?
Yeah, so I mean that's very important. So like I think Wayne Gretzky said it best. It's like don't go where the puck is, go where it's going to go where it's going to be, right? So, you know, that takes a number of things. You know, I've always had a very high level of interest and love and admiration for our industry, so I always kept my finger on the pulse. Cool. But the best way to do that is to get involved in your industry, not just in your box. Let's just say I was a collision repair owner, right? Yeah. Just being in my industry is not good enough. You got to get out and network. You got to get to industry conferences. I just flew in today from Indianapolis, right?
Busy day.
Right? Yeah, but I love it, man. So out there learning what's coming up on the U.S. side, you know, learning that in many ways Canada's much further ahead than the U.S. Learned that too. Right? But it's about networking. It's about asking. So, like, for example, we have an amazing board of advisors. Yeah. And, you know, and they came together because my partner, the three of us were determining what we wanted, and then my partner Dominic just simply reached out and said, here's what we want to do. Here's how we're looking to grow this business. This is where we want to go, and we believe you would be a perfect asset. So now we've got, you know, the former chief people officer of McDonald's on our board, former VP of operations for Disney's Magic Kingdom on our board, and the former managing partner or managing director of one of our biggest competitors on our board, right? And so to get back to how do we keep abreast? Two things. You got to be active. You got to be active in your industry. You and I were talking about the three of us were talking off camera around, you know, how do we be the best? Well, let's look and mirror them, right? So let's identify what does Joe Rogan do, and let's take some of that. Sure. Let's shamelessly steal some of that energy, those not so much ideas, but concepts and precepts, right? Sure. When you look at a collision repair side, I know what I know. And I know what I don't know. Exactly. And I know the difference. That's important. So I go out and in the U.S., they have some subcommittees that are working on unbelievable artificial intelligence applications, right? So I came back with a whole new level of understanding, and as the CEO, you know, it's my job is to really look at the 3, 5, and 10-year plan. Exactly. I have excellent people that help me execute the 1 and 2 year plans. I've got to always be looking at where are we going between 3 and 10. And for me, the big question is where's technology and AI fit into that, right? So that's one piece. It's about getting active, getting out there. And if you're shy around meeting people, that's your best opportunity. Just run at it then. All right? And then when you want to surround yourself with the right people, just think about what you want and ask. And it'll happen. Yeah, that's awesome. It's true. It's such a key important. Hey, it's what's been my reality. Yeah. And, you know, me, my 2 business partners, we've done great, but you know, we're not Superman. Like we didn't come with some unbelievable superpowers. We just really focused, and maybe that's the superpower. Yeah, focusing down, putting your head down, and getting to work, and understanding where you want to go, and making sure that happens. Exactly. Yeah, man. Determination. Absolutely. Insane. Absolutely. Awesome. And like I was just thinking about it, you were saying like the AI technology. Like I don't know, it was yesterday, or the day before, online seeing. I think they in America they proved the first test flight of a flying car.
or something like
Okay, yeah. There's also some fighter jets that are being unmanned, unarmed, or unmanned, AI driven. Yeah. So what they do is they take a simulator.
Yeah.
And a pilot will go through it, and then they program that into the machine learning. And they've got prototypes. I just saw it yesterday, so maybe that's the same one we're looking at. These things are firing off and ready to go. And they're using like laser. So instead of actual guns, it's just a laser imprint. Yeah, these things were taking out their best pilots, man. Wow. Their best pilots. So interesting. Hey, technology, at the end of the day, it really means accessibility. And what that means by accessibility is access to people, information, critical information in critical times. Rapid. And the U.S. Army's finding a great application for that. So
for sure.
Yeah, man.
But what do you think of that, like in your industry, like how that's going to change the game? Do you think it's going to give you like a different route to go? Or?
So here's what I think about AI. By the time cars start self-driving, look, I know a lot of Teslas working on the full autonomous. I just think that's going to be way longer than people anticipate. Right now we're looking at how does artificial intelligence, like if you think that it's going to like write an estimate or complete what we call blueprint. It won't do that. It's not capable yet, right? But the applications on the admin. So, for example, we're looking at taking a whole bunch of proprietary docs and putting them into blockchain, and then in blockchain now can only access through who we allow, and that would be simplifiers across Canada. But now you put in a request, so I'm working on this car and I want to find the OEM, the original equipment manufacturer, procedures to, let's say, replace a front rad support, right? So instead of going through the 200 pages, you just type that into the blockchain, AI will pull it for you and deliver it to you on a platter. Like that eliminates like 2 to 3 hours of non-productive administrative work. That's where I think the gold is in AI. It's about the administrative labor and removing humans from having to do that. So remember, technology accessibility, right? So instead of having to skim through all these pages, maybe Chat GPT can say, hey, within the blockchain, I need this on that, and I'm looking for these repair procedures. Boom. Here you are. They're all there. Right, in seconds, versus 3 hours of reading.
The time consumption.
That's right. Wow. That's where productivity drives significantly. Wow. And it can change the unit economics for an organization very quickly. Well, I can't wait. Actually, I think about it. I'm like,
I know. It excites you in a way too.
Absolutely.
Because you know what it can do for your company.
I know what it will do for us, for our customers.
It's crazy.
And I know how we can scale it, so I'm excited about that.
And look how fast you guys already scaled. Imagine with something like that at that point.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that in the future state.
100%.
Yeah, good deal.
That's cool. I wanted to get some advice. We always love to ask, like, from someone like yourself in a career like this and so forth. What advice would you give to somebody at a young age who's trying to get into the same industry of you or trying to put themselves into the business and scale? What's advice that you would give to them?
So I'm going to say generically, if look at the camera and say, if any of you are looking to get into collision repair, call me, find me. Okay, I will help you. And I mean that with full intention. That it's we're in the trades, we're having severe labor shortage. On the admin side, it's just as bad. It never used to be like that. It is now, right? But what I'll say is across the board, okay? So regardless if it's collision, insert collision, insert wherever you want to go. Don't do anything you don't love. If you don't love it, get out immediately, because all you're doing is wasting your precious time. And where I really learned that was from Steve Jobs. And he said that you can't do anything that you don't love. And the reason being is that the successes will be far less than the hardships. The difference is the people who love what they're doing so much that they can overcome the hardships and be there for the successes, right? And that just made so much sense to me. And if you look at it, like, if I hated my role, my job, my industry, how enthused can you really be? Right? And it's like, hey, you know what, Alex, here's what we're going to do. We are going to go and sweep outside and clean all the berms.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how excited that's going to get you. Likely not. But if I were to say, well, you know what? We have that option, or we're going to fly to a private jet to wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
Your energy level completely changes,
100%.
right? And you know, those are two drastic comparisons. But you know, the old adage is, oh, the wife, honey, we got to clean the garage.
Yeah.
It's really overfull. Oh, I'm just so tired. Can't do it. Buddy calls, hey, I got tickets to go to play 18 at Wooden Sticks, and it's for free. So what do you say? Oh, I'm about to be there in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
You got all that energy to do so. So you got to just do what you love.
Yeah.
And if you and if it takes you time to find that, find it. Reflect.
Yeah.
Invest the time.
For sure.
Because especially someone anywhere around your age, oh man, you got a whole ton of life ahead of you.
Yeah.
So invest whatever time it is to identify what you're passionate about, because you'll be successful. It could be making widgets.
Yeah.
You'll be the most successful widget maker ever if you love it. And that's where then the rewards come, right?
Exactly. I think, like, to go off of what you're saying, a lot of people in our generation, and even some older too, I think they're very, you know, caught up in the time, and they want to go as fast as they can to do something to make an outcome.
Sure, but if you're not passionate about it, what you resist persists. And if you don't like it, I don't know how you're going to get there.
Exactly.
I really don't understand it, because let me tell you something. Simplicity, a lot of people, 90 stores, going 110. Buddy, there were many days, especially through COVID.
Yeah.
I had every right and excuse to hang it up, right?
Yeah.
But I couldn't. I love it too much, right?
That's awesome.
And now we're here today.
Look at it.
New set of challenges always.
Always.
But that's what's going to happen. See, in order to get where you want to go, it's not because you put in time or, you put in time or because, it was luck of the draw. No. It was because you were passionate about an industry, an employment, a vocation, anything, and you were able to persevere, and you became the person that deserves those rewards. Not that they were just entitled to you.
No.
You became the person that's in alignment with those rewards and those accolades.
Yeah.
That's what it takes, because if you don't love it, you're not going to stick around to do any of it.
Exactly. So even like those challenges, like, at any stage, you're going to have a challenge, whether you're successful or not. If you don't love it, how are you going to do it?
The bigger you get, the bigger your challenges are, right?
Yeah.
Right? And now you also have more resources to deal with them.
For sure.
But, at the end of the day, if you're not exceptionally passionate about what you're doing, I honestly, truly, I feel sorry for them, for anybody, because they should not subject themselves to that. No. And some people may say, but it's my paycheck. Okay. Yeah. That's your today, your current state. Let's start thinking about what you're really passionate about. Yeah. And maybe you don't have to, open your own business. I don't know, but you've got to be in the industry that you're passionate about, because people can elevate very quickly when they're working towards their passions.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. And so we always love asking the question. It's the name on the board here. How do you, Paul, deal with your own lifestyle and balancing it all?
I think that goes back to living through intentionality, right?
Yeah.
Like, I recognize it, and I'm going to call it out. Hey, Giovanna, if you're watching this, baby, I love you. But my wife is, so I'll say two things. You got to be, very intentional. There are times where I even map out in my monthly planner, like, I need to carve out time for my wife.
Yeah.
Right? She deserves and requires that time of me, because at the end of the day, for those singles, males, females, your greatest supporter will be that significant other.
Yeah.
And if they're not in alignment with you, they're either going to be an anchor or a rocket jet to propel you. One or two, that's what they're going to be. And my wife is a rocket jet that propels me, and she deserves, and sometimes she doesn't get it because just something comes up, travel, I've been on 4 or 5 planes in 3 weeks. So, but that's fine, not complaining. It's just what it is. and she deserves that recognition, right? So you've got to live intentionally. I make sure to plan days that her and I are going to spend together, evenings, just get away, me and her, not minus GL, though we love her, right, too. But it's just time for her and I to reconnect.
For sure,
it's so important, right?
Yeah.
And I think that understanding and setting goals towards different aspects of your life.
Yeah.
So, for me, family, it's making sure I reach out to a number of family members per week. I gotta do that.
Sure.
I have that touch base. Financial, setting financial goals.
Yeah.
This year you want to make $100,000. Good. So put that. Reverse engineer how we're going to do that now, weekly and monthly, right?
Yeah.
So I just think it all comes down. So how do we keep a balanced lifestyle, or the lifestyle balance podcast, and life is just making sure that you're touching every area of your life that you are living. Right. And again, that goes to the spiritual, the social, the physical, the mental, the professional, and the family front, right? And make sure you're putting and applying time in each and every one of those. Exactly. If you do that, I don't know how you're not successful, buddy. I don't know how it can be. Actually, I don't believe it can be. Because you're living with that intentionality. You're making sure you're putting time and commitment into every aspect of it. Exactly. I think that's the roadmap for success. Exactly. Complete success. Because everyone's got a different definition on success.
Yeah. Different view of
having $100 million, you hit financial success, good. But at the end of the day, success is the achievement of a predetermined, worthwhile goal. That's what success is. And that can flow in any area of your life, right? As long as you set a goal towards it, you're now qualified to be successful because you have a goal around it.
Write it down.
Absolutely. Crystallize it, read it, review it. Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, man.
Well said, Paul.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Well, listen, we appreciate you coming out. This is an awesome, really well-rounded podcast, I think.
Yeah.
Great conversation.
Awesome.
And we'd love to have you on in the future again.
Hey, gentlemen, I just want to say I would love to come back anytime.
Awesome.
I really admire the work you guys are doing. I think everything you're doing here is phenomenal.
Appreciate it.
And you know what? I think we live in a time of society right now where people need to hear the messages that are being provided by you and your speakers, right? Yeah. People need to understand how to get more of that lifestyle balance. COVID now is thankfully in our past, but the bottom line is, prior to COVID, 1 in 10 adults, had some forms of mental distress, right? Today it's 4 out of 10, right? So, and we're still living with that. So that's why I was so excited to be a part of this, because if we can have a lifestyle balance message going out, you guys are doing the Lord's work, and we thank you for it, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, absolutely.
Awesome.